Something huge is brewing for the New York Knicks, as recently there's been a lot of call-outs about the New York Knicks and their bench depth, and now there is a clear solution to that problem, and the key point here is Tom Thibodeau and his willingness to make changes when multiple different players off the New York Knicks bench have been under fire from fans for underperforming, and we are going to break all of this down. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Knicks Digest. It's Chris here, and we're going to jump right into things as always. And guys, if you're part of that 65% that's not subscribed to Knicks Digest, make sure to subscribe. This is the place to be for all Knicks content. We're closing in on 13,000 subscribers. Let's get that final push there. You guys have been killing it recently, but let's jump into the video and talk some New York Knicks basketball, as multiple different New York Knicks are showing why their futures with the team are incredibly bright. And both of these guys, well, there's a fear with them. We got Kevin McCullar Jr. right here. And then also on top of that, there's Pacome Dadiet. There's a problem with this. And that problem is Tom Thibodeau's willingness to not play rookies on the New York Knicks at all. And that is a problem because the New York Knicks bench has not been performing. However, playing guys who are good, like McCullar, like Dadiet, mind you, Kevin McCullar's 24 years old. He's not a 19-year-old rookie like Dadiet. But Tibbs isn't playing them, even though they deserve minutes. Now, McCullar's worked his way back from a knee injury, and since then, he's been doing great, as he had his second straight triple-double last night for the Westchester Knicks, putting up 23 points, 10 rebounds, and 10 assists. McCullar, since coming back, has shown why he is that future Josh Hart type mold of a do-it-all guy who could score the ball well, gets a lot of rebounds for his size, given he is bigger than Josh Hart. He's around 6'7", great passer as well, excellent defender, really does it all, and the one weakness in his game is he's an inconsistent three-point shooter. However, he's not a bad three-point shooter, so this guy has future Josh Hart potential written all over him, except much taller, which does raise his ceiling a lot more. So Kevin McCullar Jr. is someone the Knicks would flourish if they were to play him, because McCullar is the exact type of piece they're looking for. However, the Knicks have been unwilling to do so, even though Kevin McCullar also the day before had a 20-point, 10-rebound, 10-assist game as well. And it was his first career Westchester Knicks triple-double. Obviously, right after that, he had his second. And he's really showing that he is figuring basketball out at the NBA level. Now, this was always expected out of Kevin McCullar, because he was a guy looked at as a first-round pick for a while. Then he went down with a torn meniscus and bone bruise. And that injury is what Lonzo Ball had. And that kept Lonzo Ball out for 2.5 years. So teams got a little bit... They got a little bit worried on McCullar, a guy who one of his biggest strengths is how athletic he is. Now, that being said, torn meniscus and bone bruises could last very long, like Lonzo Ball, or they could last weeks. The bone bruises are a big mystery, especially in your knee when there's a bunch of muscle surrounding them, and usually a bone bruise can come with a torn meniscus as well. Things can get a little bit shaky. However, with McCullar, he did miss a year of action. We do have to make that clear. He did miss an entire year recovering from that and getting an operation done. However, then he returned, and he returned as the same Kevin McCullar Jr. that was always there in college when he was balling out, leading his conference in points per game in his final senior season. Played 5 years at school, and look, he was phenomenal. And now he goes into this New York Knicks franchise that could desperately use a 6'7" wing/forward, and here Kevin McCullar Jr. is, but he's not being picked up, and it is kind of confusing. He is on a two-way contract, but the Knicks could remedy that real fast. It's the same thing I've said about Moses Brown. If you want to fix that problem, you buy out DeLon Wright, who you're not playing, and then just add Kevin McCullar, or you let PJ Tucker's 10-day contract expire, and then you sign Kevin McCullar that way. Either way, it works out for the New York Knicks 100%, and that is something important to note here. Now, on top of that, you look at McCullar's numbers throughout his time in the NBA G League thus far. He's putting up 11 points, 5 rebounds, and 4 assists. He's kind of just doing it all. I mean, getting good field goal attempts out there, shooting around 40% from the field. So, solid numbers, very good defense as well. Kevin McCullar has been a solid player for the Westchester Knicks thus far, and Knicks fans are calling for Kevin McCullar Jr. to come up because of the weaknesses with the New York Knicks bench, and he is not the only rookie. As I mentioned, the other guy who the Knicks fans want to be called up, myself included, is Pacome Dadiet. Dadiet is the Knicks' first round draft pick. They had 3 picks in the second round and 1 in the first. Well, initially they had 2 and 1. They had 2 picks in the first and 1 in the second, but then they figured they could get Tyler Kolek in the second round anyway, so they traded back, got a bunch of second round picks, traded some of those second round picks for other second round picks. It was a whole dance, as the second round of the NBA draft is, with a million teams swapping picks left and right to pick up a prospect who they believe in. The Knicks ended with 4 rookies, Dadiet being the first one of them picked, and Dadiet has gotten the least amount of playing time of any first round rookie who is healthy in the NBA this season. And look, I get it. He's 19. He's raw. He's a long-term prospect who the Knicks want to slowly build up. But he's also looking a lot better than was initially expected. Now, Dadiet is putting up 13 points and 6 rebounds in the Westchester Knicks, while also shooting 43% from 3. And his defense has been the main calling card. Pacome Dadiet's defense has been unbelievable. He's getting steals really, really successfully. He's playing excellent defense in general on the perimeter. And he showed this literally from day one, with not only just with the Summer League Knicks, but in the preseason with the actual Knicks, in the regular season when he played in the first game of the season as the Knicks' 9th man, and he played good defense against the Celtics. Yeah, the Knicks got blown out, but still, Dadiet looked good in those limited minutes, and since then has hardly really gotten a chance to be on the court, and it gets upsetting because you see that he's got a lot of potential, and I would love to see the Knicks get him some moments, especially because it's not like the Knicks bench has been performing at all. Recently, the number one culprit for the New York Knicks bench getting under fire is Landry Shamet. Shamet's been, I don't want to say he's been bad, because I don't think he's been particularly bad, but he's in too big of a role for what the Knicks needed him. Initially, when he was signed, I felt like he'd be an 8th or a 9th man. Now he's more like a 7th man, and well, there's a way to remedy that. Upgrade your bench. Find more pieces, and at this part in the season, there's one way to upgrade your bench, and that is adding Pacome Dadiet and Kevin McCullar Jr. The fear is that Tom Thibodeau is not going to play either man, which makes no sense, because he should want to. Now, I'm not saying the people arguing this are wrong. I'm saying that I imagine Tibbs wouldn't play these guys. And, well, the thing is, you look at McCullar, he's an absolute Tibbs player, and Dadiet's a phenomenal defender as well. So it adds that to the argument that he should be playing them. And you look at Dadiet's last 5 games, he's had multiple steals in one of them. He's averaging a steal per game over his last 5 games. Also, just recently, put up a 10-point, 14-rebound performance, showing that the Knicks do have a guy in Dadiet who would fill some team needs and get them more rebounding and get them more perimeter defense, which we know the New York Knicks love to have in abundance. So it would make sense. And look, Dadiet's just been good in general, and I want to see the New York Knicks play these guys, because let's just take a look. Let's take a quick look at all of the 3 key bench players for the New York Knicks. It's important to note right here, I am not mentioning Mitchell Robinson, because Mitchell Robinson is playing awesome basketball, and also he's only played like 10 games on the season, and he's going to obviously play more. He's fully healthy, but Mitch has been great, so he's exempt from this list thus far. Now, you look at Cameron Payne. He's been the number 1 catalyst off the bench for the Knicks since Deuce McBride entered the starting lineup and then subsequently went down with the groin injury. Now, look, Cameron Payne, he's putting up fine numbers for a bench point guard, but not a 6th man. 7 points per game, and now he's starting as well, I might ask. So the bench got a bit thinner, or thicker, depending on how you want to rate Tyler Kolek with him. So you got 7 points per game, 3 assists, getting 40% of his shots from the field to go down, and then 36.5% of three-pointers. So solid numbers from Cameron Payne as a bench piece, but not a 6th man or a starter, if that makes sense. Then you take a look at Landry Shamet, who this season has struggled from 3 when he's not shooting in the corner. Only shooting 32% on 3s this season, but shooting 47% on corner 3s. Now, most of his shots are from 3-point range, which is important to note. So he just has not been the mark of great efficiency. He's been a great effort player, and his defense has been a pleasant surprise. But the 3-point shooting is not there consistently enough, and he's only averaging 4 points per game, even though he started to get a lot more minutes. So that's a bit concerning as well when you look at Landry Shamet. And then on top of things, you have Precious Achiuwa, who was playing well for a bit, and now it feels like he's lost all semblance of confidence with himself being in and out of the rotation, depending on when Mitchell Robinson's playing. And that's messed with Achiuwa clearly. Achiuwa's putting up 6 points, 5.5 rebounds with 1 assist, nearly 1 block, and 1 steal per game, shooting 51% from the field. Precious is a solid rotational player. It's just that's all he is, and well, he's being thrown in a million different situations. I don't think that's helping his game at all. What would help the New York Knicks game, though, is you add Pacome Dadiet, you add Kevin McCullar Jr. Hell, let's get crazy here. Let's add Moses Brown as well. Let's keep Kolek in. Let's add these guys that want to play and are showing that they are ready to play in the NBA instead of using veterans who are not even going to be on the Knicks next year. Because let's face it, you look at Cameron Payne and Landry Shamet, Do you really believe they're going to be in the Knicks next season? Like, I don't. Do you? Do you think that that's what's going to happen, is we're going to see Cameron Payne in year 2 of the Knicks when the man's been bouncing around teams left and right? Do we really think that's happening? He's been on 3 teams in 2 years. Do we think Landry Shamet, who bounces around teams left and right, is going to be on the Knicks next season? Definitely not both of them are. And with Tyler Kolek coming in hot for that backup point guard spot, I'll tell you right now, I have no expectations of Cameron Payne being back with the Knicks, because there's just not going to be a role for him to play on the court, and he is going to go somewhere where he can get minutes. On the topic of Landry Shamet, if he accepts a minimum deal, then yeah, he'll probably stick around. Outside of that, probably not. And it's rare that we've seen Landry Shamet stick around in the same place for an extended period of time. Part of that is trades. Yes, part of it's getting waived sometimes, but mainly it's just he signs with the team, plays with them for a year, and then moves on. So we'll see what happens there. But I think you play these guys now who you have locked up for the future for a long time. It just makes the most sense to me personally. And frankly, I just think it also makes the most sense that you put in the hungriest guys possible, which are McCullar, Dadiet, Moses Brown, Tyler Kolek. Those are the guys. I know it's a young bench, but the Knicks bench right now isn't working. So it makes some sense to me personally. Guys, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Like this video, subscribe, turn on post notifications. Have a great day, and go Knicks.